Thanks very much, Senator Cardin. And you in Baltimore and Maryland are so fortunate to have the extraordinary federal delegation that you do, led by Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Mfume, and all of those who are there on Capitol Hill day in and day out, making sure that this incident and anything of concern to the state of Maryland is addressed. I want to recognize and thank the first responders, Coast Guard, U.S. Army Corps, demolition and construction crews already hard at work in challenging conditions as they have been from the first moments of this matter. And I want to recognize the extraordinary leadership of Governor Westmore, who we have been working with very closely, along with the great work of Mayor Scott, County Executive Olszewski, and all of the state and local leaders who are here and their teams. And I'm particularly thankful for the leadership of the President of the United States, President Biden, who from day one set us up in a way that we could work swiftly and collaboratively across federal agencies and in partnership with state and local authorities, with labor and the private sector, all with the same goals: to get the port back open and the bridge back up. Over the last week, we have learned more. We have learned more about the 6 construction workers who lost their lives, men who were out on a cold night, filling potholes, making repairs, while most people were sleeping. They and their families are very much in our prayers. Over the last week, we have also learned more about the first responders, whose bravery and quick thinking saved lives. And over the last week, the U.S. Department of Transportation has been working with urgent 4 main lines of effort: to help Maryland reopen the port, to help deal with the supply chain implications until the port reopens, to help rebuild the bridge, and to deal with the surface transportation implications until the bridge is rebuilt. I can provide some updates on those lines of effort since we offered a briefing last week. Last Thursday, we approved Maryland's request for $60 million in quick release emergency funds. The state has the flexibility to use that funding in a number of different ways, including advanced procurement, design, and construction activities. They're using it to redirect traffic and support detours, to assist with bringing in barges to cut steel into pieces and remove it from the site, to remove wreckage outside of the federal channel, allowing for the creation of smaller auxiliary channels, and more. And this, of course, is just the start of our financial support. We've also been very focused on the supply chain implications. President Biden's freight initiatives that were originally stood up in the face of COVID disruptions are serving us well here. For example, we've used data partnerships that did not exist prior to 2021 to monitor changing container volumes along the East Coast and help supply chain actors adapt. And with our multimodal freight office created by the President's bipartisan infrastructure law, last week we convened over 100 stakeholders from across our supply chains to better understand challenges they're facing and to coordinate on mitigations. While there are certainly impacts, we are increasingly confident about the availability of East Coast ports to step up temporarily to absorb much of the cargo diverting from Baltimore in the short term. We're also providing regulatory flexibility for truckers who are helping keep supply chains moving and supporting in the response, and we have had railroads at the table too. And just yesterday, we signed a revised grant agreement with Baltimore County, updating the scope of a previously awarded Maritime Administration grant that benefits TradePoint, which is one of the few major port facilities here that sits outside of the block channel. The revised agreement will allow them to use those funds to expedite paving at least 10 acres that can be used for additional cargo laydown area. That work is already underway, and it will double their capacity to accept vehicles, which is one of the main types of cargo shipped through Baltimore, and a more difficult type of cargo to find substitute ports for than container activities that are more standardized. Opening the channel for the port, rebuilding the bridge, are both remarkably complex operations that can't happen overnight. But as President Biden has instructed from day one, the federal government will provide everything Maryland needs: funding resources, technical support, logistical help, and more to get that port open and get that bridge rebuilt. The President has also made clear that no matter anyone's affiliation, public, private, federal, state, local, Democrat, Republican, we are all one team here. That matters so much because there are so many different jurisdictional lines, different areas of expertise and ownership and authority. So breaking down any and all barriers, cutting red tape, and working as one continues to matter a great deal, and that's what we're doing here. which is why, with that spirit of partnership and the commitment that I have seen here on the ground from the first hours, there is no doubt in my mind that Baltimore will come back stronger than ever before. Thank you very much.